Along with individual experts, Surgeon Masters brings you life improvement strategies in 10 minutes. These proven principles and strategies are easy to learn and can be applied immediately, allowing you to practice your best. Here's your host, Jeff Smith.
Welcome, everybody, to the Surgeon Masters Mini Podcast. On this episode, I have with me Dr. Richard Schaefer, an orthopedic surgeon and a fellow human being. Welcome, Richard.
Thanks, Jeff. Great to be here and great to talk to you again.
Well, we've known each other for a number of years, and I think we share a lot of common vision about trying to help other surgeons in our profession. And you've been heavily academic, and I've had my mix of academic and private. But tell us a little bit about what your goal and vision in helping others is today.
Well, I think that, trying to make better connections with our patients, in that trying to understand them. And a lot of times our patients want to understand us and to be able to make connections. And I think that we get more out of it when we know our patients more fully, and they do as well.
So it sounds like we're a little bit driven to just see our patients, get the work done, help them move on. But what's a trick that's helping us do that a little bit better?
I think trying to get to know our patients, in addition to their medical and their orthopedic condition, their personhood, what's important to them. And for some, that may be their basketball career, or it may be getting back to their job as a truck driver. And for some, it may be they're trying to get some relief before they go on vacation the next week. And so trying to get to understand more about our patients and what's important to them.
You've done this and still able to get all the critical information, but adding a little bit of time to humanize them, it sounds like. So tell me a little bit more about that. What do you specifically do?
Well, I think a couple things. One is trying to focus before seeing that patient, trying to take just a couple of seconds and focus, okay, now this is the next patient. And I'll look at their name on the chart and repeat it once or twice in my head. Okay, now I'm going in to see this patient, Mrs. Jones. So trying to focus, and because we all have many other things on our mind. So now I'm going in to see that patient. And then like to establish, if possible, some small talk before the big talk, so to speak. Maybe something as simple as, hey, what do you think about this rain we're getting? Or pretty cold this morning, wasn't it? And you establish common, the weather's a common thing that we all deal with, and we trying to establish that we're both dealing with that. Or how was the traffic coming in? I'm a sports fan, so I really enjoy if a patient has a sports team logo on, hey, did you see that Ravens game this weekend? Yeah, tough loss. So something, trying to have some small talk before we get into their medical background.
And how do you see the patients responding to that?
Most of the time, positively. I think patients may be understandably a little nervous. They're sitting waiting for us, typically, may not be the most comfortable, and to come in and start talking as a human being, as opposed to just doctor and patient. There's a real power dynamic there, that differential. So this kind of is a little small talk to humanize the encounter.
And it sounds like it de-stresses the encounter.
Yeah, and I think on both parts, that the patient may feel a little more relaxed, and I may feel a little more relaxed and focused. Okay, now let's get into more of the details.
And you might have a much better memory than me. I love the concept. I try that, but sometimes I find myself forgetting what that other nuance or human characteristic of them is. How do you remember?
Well, sometimes I'll look at if they're a new patient, they may have like an intake sheet or form or something in their history that, for example, is about their job. And I may see their occupation is middle school math teacher. And that may be something that triggers me. And I may say that use that I see in their record. So you teach middle school math, and that must be very challenging, and usually that'll give yeah, you're right. There may be something in their chart that is helpful in that regard.
And in follow-up, when you see them back again?
Well, I try to write something in the note, initial note, for example, 35-year-old middle school math teacher or a 60-year-old Army veteran, and try to write something about who they are as a person, maybe at their occupation, but it may be something that who they are, that they're a competitive volleyball player or they're a recreational hockey player. So try to write something like that. And then, in follow-up visits, that's there to refer to when I'm doing that, maybe that initial focus. Okay, now here's the next patient. And I see that. And that may be another icebreaker, so to speak. Hey, how's your hockey team doing this year? Or are you still teaching middle school? Sometimes that can be, okay, that doctor remembers my personhood.
What are the other advantages that you've seen of humanizing the patient?
Well, I think for me, it's enjoyable. I feel a closer connection to the patient. And I think that as an orthopedic surgeon, I get some more visits. Sure, I'm interested in seeing the radiographs and the diagnosis and what we may be able to do for that patient in an orthopedic sense, but also from getting to know the patient. And sometimes they'll be interested in getting to know me on a basis. For example, I'm a diehard Buffalo Bills fan, and football season, I wear a Buffalo Bills lanyard. And sometimes patients will see that and we'll start talking football. And it may be, for me as a Buffalo Bills fan, it may be something like, "Hey, tough loss, doc." Yeah, you're right. We're used to that. But I think it sort of makes a connection outside of the diagnosis. I get a lot out of that myself.
Well, it sounds like a great concept for helping surgeons enjoy a busy clinic practice or busy rounding schedule or whatever else they're dealing with their patients. So that's fantastic. Hopefully, maybe you can summarize, what do you want everybody to kind of take home from this great conversation?
I think that something that might be able to do starting tomorrow or next week is to, in that initial note, write down something about the patient, whether their occupation, what they like to do, what's important in their life. Write down a brief note, and that's a good exercise to try to humanize the encounter some more, and it may be something to be able to refer back to later on at the next visit.
Thank you so much, Richard, for being our guest today.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. Great to be here.
There you have it. In less than 10 minutes, this is Jeff Smith, along with Dr. Richard Schaefer, until the next episode of Life Improvement Strategies for the Surgeon Who Wants More. Ciao.
Now, take 10 minutes and put your plan into action to practice your best.